All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here for round number 3, game number 3. Sydney Roller Derby League Snipers taking on 5x5 Armageddon, 3-time defending champions. Southside Derby Dolls, the Force. So lining up for Southside today, we've got 0-0 Whack Russell Terrier, 0-7 Ruby Whipper, 1-3-0-0 Mel Scream. Number 14 is Get Shirty. Number 34 Bambi. Number 389 Lethal. Number 5 Cat Fink. Number 64 Sparky. 75 is Clusterfrack. 78 is Debbie Does Damage, and 888 Tequila Shot, and they are in purple.
And lining up for Sydney Roller Derby Leagues, the Snipers, you got number 120 Pure Energy, 122 Stockard Slamming, 14 Lowdown Hoedown, 17 Serial Killer, 23 Icy Red, 288 Chukram, 421 Death Starlet, 49 Apple Turnover, 68 Hellcat, 84 Violet Van Slam, 9000 Feisty Cuffs, and 94 Tonya Harder.
So a very interesting game here, Mike, man. These two teams first met in 2012 in Southside's first year. The last time these two teams met was at the grand final of Eastern Region last year. Snipers taking out a close win. They are the defending ERD champions, the Eastern Region Roller Derby champions. Southside the defending 5x5 champions. And many tip this year would be the grand final. So watch out. Jam number 1 underway. Feisty Cuffs jamming for Sydney. Sparky jamming for Southside.
And it is Feisty Cuffs who gets the early advantage for the Snipers, picking up lead jammer. Sparky with the one to beat now. Gets through as that skater is called out of play. 4-point jam there for the Snipers as Feisty Cuffs calls off the jam.
So Sydney with first blood out the gates. 4-0, strong jam to start. Whack Russell Terrier stepping up to the line now for Southside, up against Chakram for Sydney.
Yeah, great rivalry forming between these two teams. Been up and down result between them, and that grand final from ERRD last year was a close one, went up and down as well. The Snipers getting the better of S2D2 on that occasion.
So last year they split their games 1-1. Sydney winning the grand final of the ERD. Southside winning round 1 of 5x5 last year. So Chakram breaking through. Lead jammer for Sydney. Whack Russell Terrier doing the same on her scoring pass now. About half a lap between the two of them. Chakram with some time up her sleeve here.
Strong defense needed from Southside now as Chakram calls off the jam, picking up 2 points. Good work in the pack from the Force, forcing the call off.
Sydney currently sitting on top of the Armageddon ladder. 2 from 2 in both first 2 rounds of the season. Southside did win their first game in round 1 but had a bye in round 2. So the first not a lot of look at Southside here, but a chance here for Sydney to really solidify that top spot on the table.
Hellcat jamming out there for Sydney.
And Ruby Whipper jamming for Southside. She's got lead jammer status. Quarter lap separating them. Ruby Whipper with some points potential here. Get Southside on the board. Pack speeds up.
4-2 pack advantage to Southside, so Sydney trying to speed up that pack as much as possible. Doing a good job. Call off comes from Ruby, 3 points to 0. Southside on the board in the first half.
Southside with, even though they are defending 3-time champions for 5x5, very different looking squad that we're seeing this year. In the off-season, Southside had what would be described as a perfect storm of circumstances of, skaters unavailable through retirement, through moving interstate, overseas, pregnancy, injuries, you name it. It's happened to Southside's the Force this season. And this is a squad that's relatively new, but they're finding their feet and gelling and working well together.
Feisty Cuffs taking on Sparky once again. Feisty Cuffs trying to find a way through the front wall there. Gets hit to the deck, has to reset. Gets hit to the inside now and has to reset. Sparky, in the meantime, having equal amount of trouble at the back of the pack.
So Feisty Cuffs lead Jammer and Sparky on her way to the box. First power jam of the evening goes to Sydney.
Yeah, forearms called against Sparky there.
Get Shody on her way to the box. A pivot for Southside also. So pack advantage to Sydney with a power jam.
Feisty Cuffs takes a good solid hit, stays on her skates and picks up 5 points. Sydney pack at a standstill here as Feisty Cuffs approaches. They speed up and try and assist her through. Southside equal to it though, and they hold up Feisty on that pass.
Some great one-on-one defense from Tequila shot there. Sparky back on track, stashing that star and trying to pass it over the top. Shody has got the star in her hand now. Jam called off before Shody can get out, or Get Shody can get out.
Another 5 points on the board to Sydney, though. That opens up the lead slightly, 16-3 now after 5 minutes of this game.
A big 10-point jam there for Feisty Cuffs, one of the premier jammers in the competition.
Very experienced skater, been around a long time now, Feisty Cuffs.
Whack Russell Terrier with the star now for Southside. Chakram jamming for Sydney.
Neither team looks like they've really settled yet. Some frantic work out in both packs at the moment.
And Chakram following Lethal through a gap. She's got lead jammer status once again for Sydney. Sydney definitely getting the lion's share of lead jammer status so far and making it work for them.
Easy road through there for Chakram, picking up 5 points. Lethal off to the OK Derby Butts penalty box. Whack Russell Terrier, I believe, is still on her initial pass here. Some great defense from the Sydney pack as Chakram gets an easy pass there. 5 points on the board for Sydney. 15 so far in this jam. Well, once again, an easy road through. Southside's defense in tatters in this jam.
Whack Russell Terrier is out now. Damage already done, however. Chakram picking apart the Southside defense and extending their lead. A huge 23-point jam for Sydney. Stepping up to the Derby-obsessed jammer line, we've got Ruby Whipper for Southside up against Hellcat. These two jammers definitely know each other and each other well, but in different uniforms in previous years. Last year, Ruby Whipper skating for Northern Beaches, Hellcat jamming for Inner West.
As we see a pivot line start there. So unusual these days, we don't even have a sponsor for it.
Not like the Derby-obsessed jammer line, the OK Derby Butts penalty box. Hellcat lead jammer for Sydney.
And nice work there. Ruby Whippet on the inside of the track. Up on the toe stops, gets through, but it is another 3 points on the board for Sydney as that jam comes to an end.
So Sparky now pulling on the jammer star for Southside. Feisty Cuffs makes her way to the Derby-obsessed jammer line.
Timeout called here. Well, looks like an official timeout. big thank you to Skate Project. Of course, if you want to get your derby gear, head over to Skate Project. Some great no camel toe hot pants are over there, as well as hoodies, socks, and all your derby wear. Skate Project also have some fantastic ref shirts for any aspiring referees out there. Fisticuffs through again, picks up lead jammer, Sparky. Quarter lap behind, Fisticuffs looks for the hit and quit it. And picks up a couple of points there. 3 in fact. Calls off the jam.
So first half, all Sydney at the moment. 3 points only going Southside's way via Ruby Whipper. No other jammer finding any success so far.
And if you can hear me out there, I understand we're having some problems with the audio at the moment. Hopefully we'll get that resolved for you. In the meantime, turn us up to 11.
Chakram here with the jammer star for Sydney, and Whack Russell Terrier sees daylight but called for a track cut with the jammer star. Power jam now to the Sydney Snipers.
And Chakram gets the signal from the bench that it is a power jam, and she is also lead jammer. 3-2 pack advantage to Southside. And good work from Get Shirty. One-on-one defense there, but Get Shirty thought she got called for a track cut, but it was in fact Violet Van Slam off to the penalty box.
Chakram, another 5-point pass. Absolutely dominant early here in the game for Chakram.
Whack Russell Terrier out of the penalty box and annihilated by pure energy. Chakram coming round, looking to weave away through the pack this time, but the Southside defence holding strong in that brace 3 wall.
So Southside doing a good job right now, keeping her at bay, but only for so long. Chakram now out once again. Lead 5 points added to the tally. Big jams for Sydney every time out on the track.
Whack Russell Terrier once again looking absolutely spent out on the track. Having to do so many hard yards, pushing up that brace 3 wall. And in the meantime, Chakram just cruises through for 5 points.
So full 2-minute jam there. Chakram not wanting to end the suffering for Whack Russell Terrier, and racks up 19 points in the process. 64 plays 3. Sydney absolutely blitzing this first half.
Ruby Whipper now out on the jam line, and she'll be taking on Hellcat. Hellcat with quick feet there, looking to go inside there now, but the Southside defence were onto her, but she gets through back on the inside now. Hits the deck, but is your lead jammer. Lethal with some one-on-one defence.
Ruby Whipper not having the same luck for Southside. Sydney's walls holding strong. Cluster frag, great last line of defense, but 20-foot rule kicks in and forced to let it go. Another 5-point pass for Sydney.
Hellcat this time gets hit to the inside, forced to reset, but does it well. And it comes back through for a 5-point pass. And just like that, she's round the track again. Another 5 points. Well, 79 points on the board after just 13 minutes. And this is all too easy right now for Sydney.
Southside looking completely discombobulated right now. Not able to find any consistency. The walls are breaking apart.
Lots of one-on-one defense out there. When the brace 3 wall is happening, it's working, but they're not holding it long enough to hold up the opposition jammer.
Yeah, too easily letting that go in favor of the desperation one-on-one. And it's just not yielding any results for them. That was a 30-point jam for Hellcat.
And that was not a power jam. I repeat, that was not a power jam.
Sydney absolutely dominant right now. Timeout called, as you would expect. Colonel Panic wanting to settle down the force.
Well, whatever tactics they went in with, they're not working right now. They need to reset. They need to regroup. And Colonel Panic needs to find an answer to this scoring spree right now from Sydney Roller Derby League. You may have noticed as well that our scoreboard is a little behind the times once again, where our Wi-Fi connection on the score has just dropped out, so we'll reset that for you as soon as possible.
So this is, of course, a Skate Project timeout. Skate Project, a proud supporter of 5x5 and Downunder Derby TV this year, bringing you all this vision. Vision that is a very strong-looking Sydney team. So Feisty Cuffs on the Derby Obsessed Jammer line for Sydney. Tequila Shot finds a way to the box. The OK Derby Butts box, that is, sorry. The no camel toe hot pants from Skate Project, you can get those.
Well, it's going to be a power jam now for Feisty Cuffs, who's not your lead jammer, but Sparky picking up a track cut. This jam will go the full 2 minutes, and a 4-2 pack advantage for Sydney right now. And a multiplayer block called on Lethal, and she's off to the penalty box. Just the one skater in the form of Get Shirty.
Southside been playing a one-on-one defense. That's all they can do at the moment. Get Shirty and Feisty Cuffs. And what a hit by Get Shirty.
Well, called out of play, though. The no-pack call came, and Get Shirty continued on with the hit.
So great show of talent and skill, but unfortunately outside of the rules. Southside gets the reinforcements. They have their numbers now on the track. And Sparky skipping through. Not lead jammer, of course. She did stash that star. That was her initial pass. So now if she pulls that on, she will pick up points. No lead jammer. No one to call it off. We're going the full 2 minutes. Only 30 seconds left here for Sparky to pick up some points. And they are the first points on the board since the initial 3. So long ago now.
Well, Feisty Cuff's taking a heavy knock here. She's gone down hard. I think this calling for a Ventolin, I think.
get underway after 18 minutes of delay here. So Icy Red on the Derby Obsessed Jammer line. And it is a power jam. Black Russell Terrier still in the penalty box. Southside sure they had a track cut then on Icy Red, but the referees thought differently, and 5 points on the board for Sydney. Nice moves from Icy Red coming in, coming into the jammer rotation and wasting no time, picking up another 4 points there. Rack Russell Terrier trying to get through for her initial pass. So Rack Russell Terrier now out of the pack. So one of the problems, Mike Mann, was that Sydney lost skaters from the jammer rotation, but those super strong walls are still intact. Yeah, as you said, a lot of talent in Sydney, but as you say, that Rack Russell Terrier finds a gap in that wall, picks up 5 points in this power jam. They need a lot more.
So 128-19, Sydney in control. Sparky jamming for Southside. Chakram, a lot of success early for Sydney, looking to continue that here.
Well, Sparky trying to get through that brace 3 wall. Violet Van Slam, very experienced skater at the front, holding it steady, so strong. Sparky gets through, but Chakram already half a lap ahead as your lead jammer.
So Chakram getting through, hit it and quit it. 3 points to 0. One of the few times or jams so far in this first half, Mike Mann, that was not at least double digits for Sydney.
Yeah, positive signs for Southside, but a long way to go. Well, it looks like Icy Red is going to be the skater of choice to come into that jammer rotation.
Jammer ranks being pillaged right now for Sydney.
Ruby Whipper jamming for Southside, forced to reset to the back of the pack. Icy Red also has to head to the back of the pack. Neither jammer able to breach the pack at this point. Violet Van Slam once again doing the job on Ruby Whipper.
So Ruby not having a lot of luck right now, but good news is that Southside defense doing a good job for at least a while, holding Icy Red, but not for long. Icy Red lead jammer once again for Sydney.
Ruby Whipper just desperately trying to find a way through that defense. There is no hole in that Sydney wall right now. So that Violet Van Slam heading to the no camel toe skate project penalty box as Icy Red picks up another 5 points.
Yeah, there's no camel toe hot pants by OK Derby Butts available from Skate Project.
Five points on the board to Sydney, 0 points to Southside. Just over 7 minutes left in the first half. If Southside are going to start clawing back this lead, they need to do it now. Once again, Sydney pick up lead jammer.
Low down, hoe down. Another skater brought into the jammer rotation. and making great work of it so far, pushing way through. Four more points for Sydney.
Well, once again, BK, we see that wall just not getting itself set, not bracing, and easy pickings for the Sydney Jammers. Sparky up against Shakram this time. And Sparky finds a way through on the outside. There was no room there at all. Got round on her toe stops. Shakram, though, right behind her. Sydney put on the speed. Southside do their best to slow it down. Sparky calling that off just in time, but only picking up the 1 point. Well, Southside decided to call a timeout. And BK, whatever they discussed during that long official timeout, that injury timeout, well, it hasn't worked for them so far. So I think it's now time for Plan C.
Or D, E, F, all the way through to Z if needed. Southside needs something special here. Whatever they're throwing at Sydney, they just seem to have the answers. Take Jammer 1, take Jammer 2 out of the rotation, and it still hasn't slowed Sydney down at all.
Looks like our scoreboard has frozen again. We'll just reset that for you.
So a little bit of lag on the scoreboard itself. Right now it is 140 plays 20.
I see red jamming for Sydney. Gets hit back, forced to reset. And there is a Southside jammer out there, caught in the middle of the pack somewhere.
Yeah, Ruby Whipper still having the same struggles.
Well, pure energy. The dancing certainly didn't wear her down. She picks up a penalty and he's off to the penalty box faster than I've ever seen anyone head to the penalty box in my life.
Why she's not jamming absolutely boggles my mind.
Ruby Whipper emerges as your lead jammer.
They made her work for it though. Full minute and 10 seconds off that jam before lead jammer status awarded. Icy Red on the way to the box. Power jam here for Southside. And finally able to sniff some opportunity here.
Ruby Whipper gets through, picks up the 5 points after some heavy initial contact. Depleted packs out there at the moment. Sydney getting the numbers back on the track. Just as they do, Violet Van Slam was in the queue for the penalty box and is off the track. Icy Red back on now.
So another 5 points for Ruby Whipper. A 10-point jam so far for Southside. The first of what might be a few. If there's a little bit of hope, a little bit of a glimmer that there's light at the end of this tunnel, Southside definitely have the talent to capitalize. We'll see how they come out of it though.
Well, we're seeing an official review now called by Southside. And our scoreboard is back up and running. Captains have pleaded their cases, and referees will head to their huddle to discuss Colonel Panic's key points out there.
So the feedback is in, Mike, man. They can hear us again. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing for them.
Keep those comments coming. Let us know if you want us to turn the sound back down.
Someone said that the voices are good. The volume is good, but the voices are kind of distorted. I think that's just how I talk. That's that's just me naturally.
It's just the season. We've all got crackly throats at the moment.
Yeah, someone said kind of scratchy. You're kind of scratchy. Is that in the announcer handbook?
Something tells me not. It's certainly not on the after test.
Real-time feedback, always good. Thanks for listening out there, folks. We're glad you're watching. And whack Russell Terrier, lead jammer for Southside. Lowdown Hoedown, however, going right with her. Quarter lap between the teams. And whack Russell Terrier.
Yeah, good aggressive skating there from Southside, sorry. And that is what they need. They need, every time they've gone aggressive out there, it's paid dividends. It may be more risky, but there's nothing to lose right now. Over 100 points down in the first half. They need good, strong, hard, aggressive skating, and they can get themselves back in this game.
Sparky with that opportunity now.
Well,
Short
it
packs.
is a depleted pack for Southside. Only one skater out there. And gets Shirty once again doing a great job holding up Shakram and forcing her to the back of the pack. Getting some reinforcements now.
That was a phenomenal move from Shirty there. But not enough to keep Shakram from lead jammer status.
Well, as soon as the second skater came out there, Get Shirty wasn't as effective.
She just wants to be out there by herself. Shakram, 5 points for Sydney. So star pass to Get Shirty now. And a big hit to the inside on Shirty. Drag to the back. Shakram in the meantime picking up another 5 points. Cluster frac, she's on the way to the box. Still depleted lineup for Southside. And Shakram taking full advantage. Untouched on the inside line. 15 points so far.
Well, things getting messy towards the end of this first half. Believe it or not, it is still just the first half. And I'm not sure if you could hear us out there earlier when that extended timeout was happening, but just in case you missed it, Feisty Cuffs has been taken away in an ambulance as a precautionary measure. She went down hard earlier. You saw a skater hit the deck and seek medical attention. That was Feisty Cuffs, and our thoughts are with her, hoping she's okay.
Hellcat was the other Sydney skater that did go down injured. I'm happy to report she is up and standing under her own strength, smile on her face, and has put her helmet on. I don't know if we'll see her again, but she's got that Jammer Star on the sideline, so there's a chance second half we'll see more Hellcat out there.
Well, we're seeing an official review from Sydney Roller Derby League here. With just 26 seconds left on the period clock. This may well just be a tactical official review. Just get that extra jam in, try and secure that lead a little bit more. Not that they'll be feeling the tension at the moment, but Southside Well, they just showed something in the last few jams, a little bit of a spark.
So maybe the timeout just to quench it a little bit, like put that flame out before it even gets going.
Take the momentum into the second half. Of course, your official timeout today brought to you by Skate Project. So get your ref shirts and official wear from Skate Project.
So jam is underway. Ruby Whipper with the star for Southside.
Icy Red jamming for Sydney.
And Ruby Whipper lead jammer status awarded. Icy Red still held up in this pack.
Clusterfrack with a nice hit there, taking down Icy Red. But deemed illegal, in fact, and Clusterfrack off to the penalty box. That jam comes to an end, and that will be half-time. 4 points in the last jam of the first half for Southside. So slight bit of momentum going into the second half, but a mountain to climb for the Force. And we'll be back in just under 15 minutes' time with all the action here at Sydney Boys High.
Second half about to get underway, ladies and gentlemen. Look for some fireworks from Southside. They need something special to pull this one back. If a victory is not on the cards, at least keep it respectable. So look for maximum effort from the team in purple. Sydney, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Doing all sorts of things good in the first half. Looking to continue that here, no doubt.
Absolutely, and as we saw in the first half, and as I mentioned, I think aggressive skating is the key for Southside. They have to hit the back of that pack hard. Shakram on the jam line for Sydney gets forced to the back and hit out of play. And Sparky is off to the penalty box.
Clockwise block for Sparky. playing fifth blocker there off the Derby Obsessed Jammer line. She'll spend some time in the OK Derby Butts penalty box. Chakram, lead jammer once again. Her percentage of lead jammer is astronomical today.
Well, she's so solid on her skates. You could see there, Lethal made no impact with that hit whatsoever. And this is where Southside have to walk the line. They have to be aggressive, but not give away penalties, particularly power jams.
Well, Southside only playing with 10 skaters, I think, today, 10 or 11. Don't have the numbers to throw away penalties. There were a lot in the first half. It could play a factor coming into the second.
Stockard slamming, getting sent to the penalty box for a low block. Sparky gets through. That's just her initial pass, though. And Shakram picks up another 4. So a big jam to start the second half for Sydney. 14 points to 0.
Second verse, same as the first. Another big double-digit jam for Sydney. Icy Red with the star now on the Derby Obsessed Jammer line. And it seemingly doesn't matter who has a star on, as long as it's someone from Sydney. Points are coming.
Well, you can see they're being coached as all-rounders out there. The jammers coming into the jammer rotation being just as effective, and that's also due to the great work they're doing in the pack.
So Whack Russell Terrier with the jammer star for Southside, finally getting through lead jammer status for Southside. That's off the back of some great defense from her walls, keeping Icy Red at bay.
Oh, Icy Red sneaks through on the outside, gets through for her initial pass. Whack Russell Terrier shoots through for her 4-point scoring pass and calls off the jam.
So one of the big differences so far is every time Southside get a lead, they know what to do, they know how to take advantage, but they get that 4-point pass. Sydney doing a good job of limiting it to one pass. Every time Sydney does, we're talking 10, 15, even 30 points we saw in the first half from Hellcat, who happens to be stepping up to the Derby Obsessed Jammer line right now.
Yeah, good to see Hellcat back out there after that, picking up that injury in the first half. Ruby Whipper, her opposite number out there, and getting the better of her, just pure energy to contend with, and gets past her now, picks up lead jammer.
Hellcat going with her, seemingly looking unaffected by her injury in the first half. Good to see a full recovery from Hellcat. Both jammers going stride for stride, trying to outpace each other. Ruby Whipper still ahead, and both jammers picking up a point apiece. And Hellcat taken out by her own skater.
Yeah, a bit of friendly fire there. Number 49, Apple turn her over. One point apiece in that jam, and it was a lot of effort for absolute zero result, really, at the end of the day.
And not a lot of return on investment there. Sparky jamming against Chakram. Chakram, a lot of success so far, and desperation hit to the outside. Chakram dragged back. Chance here for Sparky. She's at the front. Chakram at the back. Lethal on her way to the box. A depleted pack now for Southside.
Chakram is lead jammer though, so... Oh, and it is a power jam now. A track cut called against Sparky, and this is bad news for Southside. Chakram now clear of the pack, and 4-2 pack advantage to Sydney.
Mel Scream and Kat Fink, the last line of defense, and Chakram making quick work. I talked earlier on, Mike Mann, about the depleted stock of Southside's team. Mel Scream and Kat Fink, two of the skaters called up from the Empire, playing a lot of games for the Empire last year, now in the Force, and having to adjust to a new level of play.
Yeah, it's going to take time to get that cohesion and for these skaters to get, well, just up to the level of play, taking that step up.
Clusterfrack making her way to the change rooms. Likely foul out. Did we see Clusterfrack for the last time today?
Yeah, 7 penalties against Clusterfrack on the board. And she's out of here.
That's going to hurt Southside.
Both Tequila shot as well, also out of here. Didn't see that one occur, but I can see 7 penalties against Tequila shot.
That's a huge one. Tequila shot doing a lot of work in that first half.
And I can tell you, Lethal also on 6 penalties.
Troubling signs ahead for Southside. Gonna need something special here to reverse their fortunes.
Well, you said they only came in with 11 skaters. 2 down already takes them to 9. And, well, possibly Lethal, only one more chance out there. Sydney picking up lead jammer once again through Icy Red. Whack Russell Terrier following half a lap behind. Whack Russell Terrier with that aggressive skating tries to get round the outside. Picks up 2 points against the lead on that pass. Hellcat now up against Ruby Whipper. Hellcat rather, hitting the pack hard there. Lethal taking her the long way back. Ruby Whipper with a nice pirouette, trying to find a way around that strong defensive wall from Sydney.
Oh, Lethal looking for a track cut on Hellcat, not getting it, and Hellcat straight through. Oh, no pass, no penalty, so she's not lead jammer.
So Lethal was partly right. Hellcat must have been out of play at some point, but the skater in question was also out of play.
So that's already 5 points to Hellcat. She's not lead. If Ruby Whipper can get out for lead jammer status, she can stop the bleed in this jam at least.
Good awareness there from Hellcat. Just one skate going outside that rope, and she knew she had to get more skate outside the rope and make sure she reset back to the back of the pack.
So star pass from Ruby Whipper to get Shirty. No lead jammer now. That right given away with the star pass. So both this jam will go the full 2 minutes.
But Hellcat is racking up the points, and Lethal off to the penalty box. That will be the end of Lethal's night.
So both captains of the Force out of this game, Tequila Shot and Lethal. Clusterfrack, another veteran anchor on defense, also out of this game. It becomes a game for some of the newer skaters now.
Well, Hellcat absolutely just laid out the defensive line there, Mel Scream. And Ruby Whipper has to let it go, and Hellcat racking up the points in this jam. 19 so far.
And that jam, another double-digit jam for Sydney, bringing up the 200-point barrier. The double ton, they tip their bat to the audience. Lethal makes her way to the change rooms. Done for the evening. She gets an early mark. She won't be alone in there though, Mark Main. She's got some friends.
Yeah, quite a few, unfortunately, for Southside. And right now, there may be a few more Southside skaters thinking about that shower. This game has definitely not gone to plan for Southside.
I think they can write this one off. Put it in the as a learning experience. They still have 2 more games. They've got their bye out of the way. They face Newcastle in round 4 at home, which is going to be a test as well, and then rival team Varsity Derby League in round 5 in Hawkesbury. Sorry. So some tough games ahead for the Southside team. How they rebound from a loss like this will be the test.
Absolutely. On the flip side, for Sydney and the Snipers, things going exactly to plan, and they will be thrilled with their performance today. Right out of the gates, they were on fire.
A win today will pretty much guarantee a spot in the grand final come August, and a chance to vie for that coveted 5x5 cup.
Well, still 20 minutes of this game to go. Believe it or not, feels like we've been going a very long time due to that extended first half.
Probably feels a little bit longer for Southside right now, Mike, man.
Absolutely, as Chakram picks up lead jammer once again.
Sparky's still held up in this pack. No love yet.
Violet Van Slam off to the penalty box there, picks up her 5th penalty. Violet and Pure Energy, the only skaters in any sort of penalty trouble for Sydney, both on 5.
Bambi just pulled the star on there. She was the pivot, received the star pass. This is her first game getting the call up to the Force. And it is a trial by fire for young Bambi. Whack Russell Terrier jamming once again for Southside. Icy Red with the star for Sydney.
And Icy Red, all too easy on the outside line there, just opened up for her by her defense. And through she goes for lead jammer. Whack Russell Terrier clear of the pack, but Icy Red, well, she's got an easy path to hit it and quit it here. She tries to call it off. They're going to take the call off before whistles went, but she also picked up a track cut and is off to the penalty box. So it's going to be a power jam for Southside in this next jam. Ruby Whipper jamming here for Southside, looking to pick up lead jammer in this power jam. Violet Van Slam, though, has other ideas, holds her up and forces her to take the long way home. Icy Red already standing, ready to come back onto the track. And Icy Red is going to come out of the penalty box and pick up lead jammer. Ruby Whipper still unable to get through the pack.
Ruby Whipper seeing daylight, but that quickly closes up as Sydney engulf her on that inside line. And she's called for a track cut. Maybe somewhat of a relief for Ruby Whipper that comes to an end there. But unfortunately, it means she'll have to go out again.
hard night at the office for the team in purple right now.
And it's adversity that they're not necessarily used to, Mike Man. A lot of success, as I said, 3-time defending champions in the 5x5 competition since their inception have gone from strength to strength. This is the rebuilding year. This is the one that will test how they come out of adversity, how they face adversity head on and come out better at the end. So it's going to be an interesting journey for Southside this year.
Absolutely. As you mentioned earlier, so much experience has walked out the door in various ways, but the end result is that we've got quite a new team on the track for Southside that aren't used to playing together, and some of them have come up from the lower ranks of roller derby into the big time, and well, they've got to cut their teeth at this level.
There's definitely obviously a lot to work on for the Force, but still there's undoubtedly a lot of promising signs there as well. It's good to know that a team like this will gel, will get better, will find more cohesion and improve as time goes on. This is their second game of 2016. Second game as a team. First game for a couple of the girls out there as well.
Well, as a wise man once said, things can only get better.
Who was that wise man, Mike Man?
I think it was Confucius.
Things looking good right now for Sydney. They are in control of this game, and Hellcat lead a jammer another 5 points on the board, making short work of this power jam. Ruby Whipper back on track in front of Hellcat here. She has to complete her initial.
Well, good moves from Hellcat. 4 points on the board.
All the right moves so far for Sydney today.
Hellcat is an impressive jammer out there. A bit of a beanpole, to be honest, but doesn't look like she could take the hits she does, but she absorbs those hits, and so many times the blocker is the one that ends up on the ground, and it's so impressive to see.
And it's impressive to see that she's actually improved so much just by being within the Sydney training program. Sydney, obviously, a world of experience, years and years of doing this and doing this well, have churned out some amazing jammers and skaters over the years. Hellcat, in a West for a number of years, has moved to Sydney and is only getting better and better in that training environment.
Yeah, she reminds me of somewhere between Winnie Brews and Great Bowls of Fire. That sort of, she's that style of jammer, and really something the Sydney framework is familiar with dealing with. So obviously the right place for Hellcat to be, and she's flourishing. Chakram up against Sparky on this occasion. Chakram once again lead jammer, sounding like a broken record at the moment.
Unstoppable tonight. Chakram racking up points upon points upon points.
Meanwhile, Sparky off for a multiplayer block.
Second time she's picked up a multiplayer as a jammer, looking to add a little bit to the defense and getting pinged for it.
In the meantime, Chakram just skates around on her merry way, picking up points as she goes, 15 so far. And just bursting through that 2 wall from Southside. and emerging from the pack to pick up another 4 points.
What's remarkable, Mike Mann, is we still have 13 minutes left on this clock. A quarter of the game to go.
And here we see a star pass. Sparky hands off to Get Shirty. And Get Shirty, I think, has been the best skater out there for Southside today.
The workload put on her shoulders is phenomenal. But she rises to the challenge every time. So much throughput required of Get Shirty.
Well, look at that from Get Shirty. 5 points. As soon as that star hit the helmet, she was off. And well, another 3 on the board for Get Shirty.
Phenomenal work from Get Shirty. Like I said, the workload, she's just a workhorse out there working so hard and maximum effort the entire time. It reminds me of those, I don't know if, I haven't been paying attention this year, but the years when Paul Gallen at Origin was just asked to do so much for his team. The hit-ups, the tackles. If we had stats along those lines, Shirty would be at the top of them for sure.
The number of times out there in this very game we've seen Get Shirty as the only skater in defence for Southside and stopping that jammer. It's been phenomenal.
I probably lost viewers by using an NRL reference, by the way. People just like, record scratch, what the hell are you talking about, BK? Sports.
I was with you, but yeah, given our usual roller derby audience, I thought we should just move on from NRL references.
Sports ball. It's all fun.
Did they use a ball in NRL? Well, we have a timeout called, I think, by S2D2. Timeouts today brought to you by Skate Project, Armbands and Printing. This is the type of game both teams will be keen to get their hands on the footage and not just to listen to the two of us, BK, for at least a portion of the game, but really to analyse what went right and what went wrong. And, well, for Sydney, they want to replicate so many elements of this game throughout the rest of the season.
There's a lot going right for them right now.
And for Southside, well, they can really take some positives out of it and see where they need to improve. And also try to emulate what Sydney has done out there in holding those walls together and really I guess with their jammers taking the right lines.
There's a lot of work to do for Southside, no doubt. But knowing the girls the way I do, I know that they're up for it. They're up for the challenge. I'm expecting a big turnaround in round 4. Sydney will they'll probably come out of this even stronger. A bit of confidence boost, knowing that what they can do is effective, that they can dominate a team if they want to.
And playing the majority of the game without feisty cuffs. One of their most experienced skaters, and as you say, part of the spirit of their team.
Sydney really sending a message to the rest of the competition as well. Varsity, obviously a big, target for them. Newcastle also up there. They faced them off. They played them in the second round of the season. Sorry, first round of the season up against Newcastle, taking that win. But really, who gets into that grand final is going to be a three-team race. It's Sydney. Guaranteed Sydney will be in that grand final. Who's going to face them?
Underway again, and Hellcat taking on Whack Russell Terrier. Hellcat absorbing those hits once again, picks up lead jammer. Whack Russell Terrier emerged quite a while after Hellcat, but manages to pick up some pace and close the gap, forcing the call off after just 1 point. Just about 11.5 minutes left in this game. Icy Red taking on Ruby Whipper, and Icy Red finds an open channel on the outside line and picks up lead jammer. Ruby Whipper this time manages to emerge quickly. And just the 1 point, 2 points, in fact, on the board for Sydney. As we see some aggressive defensive jamming there, with Ruby Whipper doing her best to catch up and forcing the call off. Sparky up against Chakram this time. For the first time, Chakram held up for a while and forced to the back of the pack.
A matchup we've seen many times tonight. Chakram always getting the advantage. And finding an open inside line, just way open for her. Chakram lead jammer.
Well, the only skaters on the inside line were Sydney skaters, and as soon as they moved, it was daylight. Once again, though, Sparky chases hard, and 2 points on that occasion. So this is the little period in the game where Southside will focus on later on when they watch this footage and say, well, this is what we need to do. If Sydney, if our opponents get lead jam, we need to get out and chase hard. And they need to work out what they've done in this period and how that differs from what they were doing when 15, 20, 25 points were going against them.
Yeah, absolutely. When you have a brain like Colonel Panic that will break it down, that will look at it, he'll find them. He'll find the spots and what they need to work on.
Hellcat emerges as your lead jammer. Whack Russell Terrier stuck in the pack, wrestling to get free. She gets through now. And a single scoring pass and only 2 points again. So the last few jams, 1 and 2 points on the board only. Ruby Whipper now up against the Icy Red. Icy Red finds a channel through the middle of the pack this time. Picks up lead jammer. And it's going to be a power jam as well. Forearm penalty called against Ruby Whipper.
Ruby Whipper makes her way to the box. Hands in the air in frustration, and Icy Red ever so casually calling it off.
Yeah, 5 point pass and calls off the jam, gets the power start. They see Colonel Panic getting on the track there and asking Get Shirty to be the last line of defense. Couldn't do it on this occasion. Needed her team to hold Chakram up just a little bit longer, but Chakram gets through quickly for lead jammer.
Yeah, too much of a head of steam there for Chakram. Room to move, and she's a bit of a powerhouse, even for someone like Get Shirty.
Debbie does damage, doing her best to hold up Chakram on that occasion. Slows her down, but inevitably another 5 on the board. Ruby Whipper out of the penalty box. Puts the star back on her helmet. Ruby able to pick up 2 points there on that pass. Chakram just allowing it to happen, really.
So Sydney continuing to extend their lead, establish their dominance. Or it's well established, sorry, but solidify. 282 plays 60. Cruising over the 200-point differential.
Hellcat now forced to the back of the pack, and that allows Sparky to get through for Lee Jammer. Good defense this time from Southside. And gets Shirty. Well, she picks up a penalty there and is off to the penalty box, but a good solid hit on Hellcat in the meantime.
Sparky looking for points here for Southside. She's got about a half a lap to breathe here. Hellcat approaching fast. And Hellcat denied points. Sparky showing good track awareness. Definitely some promising things in Southside's game. We know what they're capable of. Just not able to string them together in a number of jams. The consistency from jam to jam definitely seems to be lacking at the moment. Obviously, a lot of their experienced skaters that started the game are in the locker rooms right now.
It looks like we're going to have another skater out of the game for Southside. And that is Get Shirty. I think she picked up, she picked up her initial penalty, but I think also a misconduct, or insubordination, sorry.
For not leaving the track.
Not leaving the track, and so she got called for 2 penalties in one shot there, and that was enough to see her out of the game.
That's a huge loss to Southside. Lucky it's only 5 minutes left. She's been a stalwart for them out there. Did I use the right word there? That's not insulting, is it?
No, it is a compliment. Don't worry, BK. Doesn't sound like it though, does it?
No, it has the word wart in it.
Yeah.
And stall.
There's someone out there maybe can tell us where the derivation of the term stalwart.
The whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
In the meantime, though, Icy Red picks up Lee Jammer. Whack Russell Terrier stuck in the pack. And Icy Red, cool as a cucumber, picks up 5 and calls off the jam.
So Southside down 4 skaters now to penalties with a very, very short bench right now. They've only got 7.
And Chakram picks up Lee Jammer. Ruby Whipper almost picking up a track cut. Manages to keep a skate out and puts the star back on. Chakram just bursts through again using that strength of hers. Picks up 5 points. Chakram with a harder road this time. Debbie does damage, holding her up. Chakram recovers well though and picks up another 5. Kat Fink now trying to hold up Chakram, but can't do it. Well, these Southside skaters must be exhausted by this point, down to 7 on the bench, and it has been a hard slog out there today.
The bench right now, there's 2 on the bench, both jammers, Wack Rossiteria and Sparky, which means the pack skaters are by themselves. That's it. There's only 4 of them. So they're going back-to-back jams here for the remainder of this game.
Ruby Whipper knew it too. She picked up a track cut, couldn't keep her balance, came back onto the track after being hit out, and she will head to the penalty box. And that, of course, is the OK Derby Butts No Camel Toe Hot Pants from Skate Project penalty box.
It's a mouthful. Timeout has been called. That is, of course, a Skate Project timeout. Skate Project, proud supporter of 5x5 and Downunder Derby TV, and fine purveyors of all things that you need for Derby. Referee shirts, armbands, printing, those OK Derby Butts camel toe free hot pants, which I know I need. I love my OK Derby Butts. No camel toe hot pants. It's a real issue. Derby Obsessed gear, the Derby Obsessed Jammer line, of course, also available through Skate Project.
I think the male equivalent is the cut lunch.
Or the moose knuckle. I've heard it referred to as well.
Do they make a male version, the no moose knuckle or no cut lunch?
Don't want to even think about it, to be honest. If you're a visual person, this is probably a really disturbing moment for you, to be honest. Because I'm sure there are people out there listening that know exactly who I am and what I look like. And now you're thinking about me and hot shorts. Short shorts. Just shiny, shimmery, no camel toe, short shorts. Thanks to OK Derby Butts and Skate Project.
New sponsor of BK's Moose Knuckle.
I'm not calling it a cut lunch, because anything lunch related I'll probably just eat, and that's another bad mental image.
Well, Hellcat is off to the penalty box along with 2 of her pack skaters, Lowdown Hoedown and Violet Van Slam. So a full penalty box here for Sydney.
For the first time in a while, I don't remember the last time Sydney had the Southside, had the pack advantage over Sydney.
As you see, though, Ruby Whipper just exhausted out on the track. But gets through, though, 4-2 pack advantage, and picks up lead jammer. Four points on the board for Southside. And Southside now doing a good job holding up Hellcat. And Hellcat, though, with a burst of speed late in the game, heads through the inside. And that was just her initial pass, though. So another 5 points on the board. A good jam there for Southside.
So Ruby Whipper called that off at the 34-second mark, which means we will have another jam regardless of timeout. One more jam. A chance for Southside to chip away at the lead ever so slightly, or a chance for Sydney to extend it further. Apple Turner over jamming, first time today, with some aggression, saved it up and called for a penalty. It's straight into the back. Apple Turner over, a little bit of excitement for her first jam as a jammer.
Yeah, first and maybe her last. Well, definitely her last for this game, but possibly her last. It is an art form, jamming, regardless of what people may say. Sparky reset to the back of the pack, takes the star off her helmet, looking to make her way through. Goes for the star pass now. Off to
Debbie does damage.
Debbie does damage, and Debbie does damage with the star in her hand, trying to get past Pure Energy and Icy Red. Bambi with some nice moves there.
And she's back with a vengeance. Apple turn her over. Turn someone over just then.
Debbie does damage off to the penalty box, and she is not only the pivot, but she is the jammer. So it is a power jam. And if anything personified the word power jam, this is it.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh.
Making me eat my words right now. Controlled aggression out of the penalty box and being very effective so far as your jammer.
Southside just bowling pins right now to the... Well, imagine if they've used that all game.
Well, Apple turn her over, channeling Scald Eagle. Absolute power through the pack.
Beast mode in the last jam, coming to a close. Sydney Roller Derby League in a dominant performance. 332 to 73. That win never looked in danger. Southside losing a lot of players to the penalty box. Feisty cuffs gone from Sydney, but coming through at the end. 332 73. Sydney, number 1 spot in 5x5 Armageddon. So I'm joined post-match by Colonel Panic, coach of the Force, flying solo at the moment because his team is just too tired.
Yeah, that was a tough game. We knew that Snipers would bring a very physical game. They didn't disappoint. we trained hard. We tried to just play the game the way we've been training and not really respond to what they were doing. But their offense was just relentless, and you saw how many skaters were left by the end because of that.
Yeah, I mean, you lost 4 to the penalty box. Not much you can do about that when they're just sort of throwing it all at you, the kitchen sink and everything. But coming into the game, what was the game plan, and at what point did you go, oh no, we need to change it?
We had a plan B. We didn't really end up using it. Obviously, we knew that Sydney are really strong with their offense, so our game plan was to be stronger. The problem is playing offense gets you a lot of penalties, and so yeah, 4 of our veteran skaters foul down early on.
It's a perpetual cycle. The more they're out there, the more penalties they get, the more they have to be out there a lot more. Now, it is a long season. There's still a lot of roller derby left. This was only the 2nd game for the Force this year. It's still a rebuilding year, some cohesion and gelling definitely on the table, but I think there's a lot of promising signs going forward.
Yeah, the team was definitely more positive going into this game than when we played Snipers 12 months ago. We've got 2 more skaters joining the roster after this, so we're going to have a full squad next time we hit the track, and everyone's really positive.
5x5, Southside are the defending champions. They took a hit tonight, but I think there's still plenty left in the season. Colonel Panic and the Force, we look forward to round 4.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to bring it stronger and harder next time.
Thank you. And I'm joined by Lowdown Hoedown. We got just you tonight?
Yes.
Okay, that's not a problem for me, but we got Lowdown Hoedown from the Snipers here after a dominant performance, a huge win, and a real statement to the rest of the Armageddon division. Snipers took out a big win tonight. Tell us your thoughts about such a big game.
Hi, can I just say I love your glasses. They're fabulous. We didn't know what to expect. We thought it was going to be a really hard game, and it was. But yeah, we came in just, relying on our training, just wanting to play a nice, clean game, relaxed, zen. It was all about the zen.
Now, one of the things that I said on the commentary was losing Feisty, Jammer number 1, arguably losing Hellcat for a good portion, Jammer number 2. It didn't really put a slow down the Snipers at all. There's obviously a lot of talent there, but what was the mentality of the team when 2 back-to-back injuries of such significant parts of the Jammer rotation?
Yeah, that was really hard. I felt pretty sick just because I don't like the people I love being hurt. That was really hard for the team. But yeah, we all just came together and decided to just be ourselves, and dancing together. And Siri started that to distract me because I was really upset, and it just turned into choreography, unison choreography, and that was kind of my favorite moment. Yeah.
Choreography always makes people happy and brings a smile to their face. Snipers undoubtedly going to be smiling a lot tonight after a huge win, solidifying their spot on top of the table and getting one step closer to that 5x5 championship. Thanks, Leda, and have a good night, all right? So we got one more game coming up, folks. This is the Battlegrounds Division. Your host team, Inner West Roller Derby League, taking on number 1 team, Central Coast Roller Derby United, in a rematch of last year's grand final. Stay tuned. It's going to be a good one.